The movie begins with Tara, who is chilling at home, texting her bestie Amber. When the landline starts going off like crazy, annoyed, she picks it up. On the other end, some guy claims he's a friend of her mom's. Tara figures he's probably her mom's boyfriend and keeps him talking, throwing out random questions. Somehow, they end up chatting about scary movies, with him asking what her favorite one is. They're going back and forth about horror flicks until the guy shifts gears, making things personal. That's when Tara gets weirded out and hangs up. She tries texting Amber to fill her in, but her phone's acting all kinds of strange. Turns out, the creepy dude cloned Amber's phone. He starts texting her, saying they need to play a little game, or he's going to kill Amber. Tara's freaking out, but does what he says, answering a bunch of questions about the Stab movie franchise. She nails most of them, but when she gets one wrong, things escalate. She grabs a knife and heads to Amber's place, ready to fight if needed. But when she opens the door, she comes face to face with a masked psycho in a ghost face costume. Before she can react, he slashes her stomach. Panicking, Tara tries to shut the door, but her phone's smart lock system malfunctions, leaving the house completely open. The landline rings again, and the killer taunts her, asking if she thinks he's already inside. And yep, he is. He grabs her from behind, stabbing her repeatedly and throwing her to the ground. Somehow, Tara survives the attack and is rushed to the hospital. Meanwhile, Sam, Tara's estranged sister, is hanging out with her boyfriend Richie when she gets a call from Wes, one of Tara's friends. He tells her what happened and that Tara's out of surgery but in bad shape. Even though Sam and Tara aren't exactly close, Sam decides to visit her sister, and Richie tags along. Back at school, Tara's friends are talking about the attack. Wes warns everyone to be careful since there's a killer on the loose, but no one seems to take him seriously. Soon, they notice a guy lurking around. Liz, one of Tara's friends, mentions he's some random dude she hooked up with, and now he's stalking her Instagram. Her boyfriend Chad gets protective, offering to confront the guy, but Liz stops him. Then they all get a message from Tara, and they decide to visit her together. On the drive to the hospital, Sam tells Richie about the Stab movies, explaining how they're based on real murders that happened in their town. Two guys, Billy Loomis and his buddy, went on a killing spree while wearing ghost face masks. Sam says every few years, some copycat shows up trying to recreate the murders for fame. Richie doesn't seem to buy it, brushing it off as urban legend. When they reach the hospital, Tara is shocked, but happy to see her sister after 5 years. Their mom, who's stuck at some conference in London, isn't there, so it's just them. Tara confesses to Sam that she's terrified. Meanwhile, Tara's friends gather at a bar to blow off steam. Amber, one of her closest friends, reveals some backstory. Sam and Tara's dad walked out when Sam was 13 and Tara was 8. After that, Sam started acting out, getting into trouble, hanging out with the wrong crowd, and eventually left home at 18. Amber's worried that Tara will get hurt again if Sam leaves, which sparks a heated debate among the group about who could be the Ghostface killer. While they're arguing, Vince, the guy stalking Liz, shows up at the bar. Chad kicks him out, but Vince doesn't go far. Later, he heads to the back of the bar to pee, and suddenly his car lights flicker on. Suspicious, he checks it out, but there's no one there. Out of nowhere, Ghostface appears and stabs him in the neck, killing him on the spot. Sam, meanwhile, is haunted by her past. She wakes up from a nightmare and finds Richie watching Netflix. Trying to calm herself down, she heads to the bathroom to take her meds. That's when she sees a vision of Billy Loomis in the mirror. He mocks her, asking if the meds are even working. Before she can process what's happening, her phone rings. It's Ghostface. He dares her to face him, and when she challenges him, he shows up in her house. Sam barely escapes and immediately reports it to the cops stationed outside. The creepy part? The call came from Amber's phone. Amber defends herself, saying her phone was cloned, just like what happened to Tara. The next day, Sam tries to talk to Tara privately. She admits that the reason their dad left was because of something she discovered when she was 13. While snooping through their mom's old diaries, Sam learned that their mom had an affair with another man, Billy Loomis. That's right, Tara's real dad is one of the original Ghostface killers. Sam confronted their mom about it, and their dad overheard everything. He walked out that same night, leaving the family broken. Hearing this, Tara is furious. She can't handle the truth and kicks Sam out of her hospital room. Feeling defeated, Sam vents to Richie and tries to convince him to leave town with her. But Richie insists on sticking by her side. Desperate for answers, Sam decides they need help from an expert. They head to Dewey Riley's house, a former sheriff who survived multiple Ghostface attacks. Dewey is reluctant to get involved, especially after all the trauma he's endured. He warns them about the rules of surviving a Ghostface attack. It's always tied to the past, and the killer is likely someone they know. But despite his knowledge, Dewey refuses to join their fight, leaving Sam and Richie on their own. After Sam and Richie leave, Dewey makes a call. On the other end is Sidney Prescott, another Ghostface survivor. Dewey tells Sidney that the killings have started again. He warns her to be careful and asks if she has a gun. Sidney assures him she's ready to defend herself. When Dewey mentions calling Gale, Sidney agrees it's the right thing to do. Sid warns her to stay away from his town, no matter what happens. Sam promises to be careful and tells him to look after himself too. They both admit it was good to hear each other's voices again before hanging up. Dewey takes a deep breath, then goes over to a box in the corner of his room. Inside, he finds his old sheriff's badge, some ammo, and a gun. After a moment of hesitation, he gears up and joins Sam and Richie at the house. The group gathers to figure out who the killer might be. Mindy, always the movie buff, insists the murders are following the plot of the Stab movies. She even suggests that Sam could be the killer. Sam doesn't take it well and storms off, her mind racing. She catches a glimpse of herself in the rearview mirror, where she sees a haunting image that distracts her so much she almost crashes her car. Meanwhile, Sheriff Judy is at home on the phone, making dinner plans or something. She hears a noise from another room and grabs a kitchen knife to investigate. Turns out it's just her son, Wes. She scolds him lightly before heading out, leaving him home alone. As Wes hops in the shower, Judy gets a call while driving. It's the killer. He threatens to murder Wes, and Judy immediately turns on her sirens, speeding back to her house while frantically trying to call her son. He doesn't answer, and she's begging the killer to let him go as she pulls into her driveway. But before she can even make it to the door, the Ghostface killer jumps out and stabs her in the chest, killing her instantly. The killer isn't done. He heads inside and attacks Wes next, stabbing him to death too. By the time Sam and Gale arrive at the crime scene, it's chaos. Gale and Dewey have an awkward reunion with some unresolved tension from their past. Sam notices one of the officers who was supposed to be guarding her sister, Tara, and quickly realizes Tara is alone. She panics and races to the hospital, dragging Dewey along with her. At the hospital, Tara hears two people arguing outside her room. Curious, she wheels herself into the hallway and finds a security guard lying on the ground. Freaked out, she hurries back to her room and grabs her phone. Moments later, someone walks in, and she hits them with whatever she can grab. But it's just Richie, who Sam had sent to check on her. Before Tara can even process what's happening, Ghostface sneaks up and knocks Richie out cold. Tara tries to escape. Ghostface then calls Sam using Tara's phone, taunting her and forcing her to make an impossible choice. Save Tara or save herself. Sam and Dewey arrive just in time to scare the killer off, getting Tara and Richie to safety. But as they're heading to the elevator, the killer ambushes Dewey. After a brutal fight, Dewey manages to shoot the killer down. He insists on going back to finish the job, saying the killer needs to be shot in the head or they'll just come back. Against everyone's advice, he heads back, and the killer springs up and stabs him to death. Gale finds out about Dewey's death later and is heartbroken. She meets up with Sidney, who has also arrived in town. Sam decides enough is enough. She grabs Tara and tries to leave town for good. Sidney and Gale beg her to stay and help them stop the killer once and for all, but Sam refuses. While driving away, Tara realizes she's lost her inhaler. They convince Richie to stop at a pharmacy, but instead, they head to a party where Tara might have left a spare inhaler. At the party, things are getting tense. Mindy and Amber have a heated argument about who might be the killer. Mindy accuses Amber of being suspicious, while Amber fires back with her own accusations. Chad tries to lighten the mood by suggesting he and Liv head upstairs to be alone, but Liv isn't in the mood. Annoyed, she storms off. Chad follows her outside after receiving a text that he thinks is from her. Unfortunately, it's a trap. Ghostface ambushes him and stabs him to death. Sam, Richie, and Tara arrive at the party, looking for Tara's inhaler. Richie tells everyone to leave, warning them about the killer being on the loose. Sydney and Gail, who are tracking Sam's location, realize she's at the party. Sydney calls Sam and warns her it's a trap, urging her to get out of the house immediately. Before Sam can react, Mindy is attacked by the killer. Everyone scrambles back inside, and accusations start flying. The chaos reaches a breaking point when Amber suddenly pulls out a gun and shoots Liv in the head. Sydney and Gail arrive. Amber pretends to be injured, stumbling outside to distract them before shooting Gail. She runs back inside, where another shocking twist unfolds. Richie stabs Sam and pulls a gun on Sydney. Amber takes off her ghost face mask, revealing herself as one of the killers. The two killers start gloating and terrorizing the group, but Sam fights back. She manages to stab Richie and then shoots him in the head to make sure he's dead. Meanwhile, Sydney and Gail take on Amber. After a brutal struggle, they set her on fire. As medics swarm the scene to help the injured, Sam thanks Sydney and Gail for their help. But even after all this, she still sees Billy Loomis's ghostly reflection in mirrors, haunting her. Outside, reporters swarm the area, broadcasting the grisly aftermath live on TV. Thanks for watching.